Hello everyone, it's Ken. DBD has such a wide variety of perks that there are so many that are very usable and so many that are very, very bad. However, there are just simply some that are just not very fun to go against, or also not very fun to use. And what ends up happening whenever you complain about these perks being the way they are, there will be the very vocal minority who tell you, oh, that's because you're a killer main. Oh, that's because you're a survivor main. Unless you're a survivor main, you can't complain about survivor perks being weird, and vice versa for killer. Now, I personally don't subscribe to this idea where you can't complain about perks unless you're part of a certain side. I think that's just a stupid opinion, and if you have that opinion, you're just simply nullifying others because you just think they don't think the same way as you, which is a very weird way of nullifying their opinion. But before I do give my opinion on these two perks I'm going to talk about in this video, I do want to preface and say that I, at the end of the day, am a survivor main now. When I first played the game, I believe a year after launch on console, I think for about a 2-year range, I was a killer main. And roughly a year ago, I resumed playing the game again, but on PC. And predominantly as a survivor main, so when I complain about survivor perks, you know it's coming from a side that generally is given the opportunity to use them, and I just don't. The first perk I want to discuss is a less egregious one, and that is Prove Thyself. For those who don't know how Prove Thyself works, let me give you the basic rundown. The way it works is that within a range, if any of the survivors in those range, you can get a % increase on generator repair speeds. This perk does not force you to play in a unique way or some sort of different way in general, you just simply play the same way. You might assume this will cause survivors to go actively looking for a generator that has players on it, but oftentimes it doesn't, and people will simply just sit on a generator where no one's at it, just praying someone comes around the corner and helps them work on it. I just simply don't see myself ever using this perk, mainly because it just simply doesn't force me to play in a different way. At the end of the day, I enjoy DBD for its unique gameplay and the way that perks react, and that's kind of boring when it just simply forces you to play the default way of playing, and that's holding mouse 1 on a gen. However, this isn't as egregious as the other perk I want to discuss. I oddly hate this perk more as a survivor than I do as killer, more specific reasons of why later on. And this perk is Distortion. For the uninitiated who don't know how this amazing perk works, let me go ahead and explain it. Distortion is a token-based perk where the tokens are consumed each time your aura is red. During this time, I believe a 10-second window. If your aura is red, you block your aura from being red for those 10 seconds and you consume a token, and also you block your scratch marks from being created for another 10 seconds. Okay, this sounds fine on paper, as the way you see this simply means that you just have a finite amount of aura reading blocking, meaning eventually the killer will eat through it. Well, not quite, because it's actually regenerating, and the way that you regenerate tokens is just simply by being in the killer's terror radius, meaning you passively regain tokens, you don't have to play in a unique way. And I think the main reason why I don't like Distortion is the way that it automates so many different things in this game. The big reason why I play DBD as a survivor especially is being able to try to guess what the killer has. Half the time you don't truly know, you're doing it based on previous experiences. You have previous experiences where certain killers play in certain ways when they use certain perks, and you try to compare that with what you're seeing now and trying to predict if they're going to use this perk. If you have a killer who is normally an M2 killer but suddenly they're seeming like they want to go for a lunge, they might have coup de grace. Or the violent gens just pop, they seem a little bit faster, they might have no-ed. Or when it comes to aura perks, you notice that whenever a killer gets a hook on you, they seem to look off into the distance. They might have barbecue and chili, they hit a generator, they find someone nearby, they might have nowhere to hide. My problem with Distortion isn't the fact that it blocks aura reading perks, but that is a problem as well. I think it's just simply an unfun game design, that so many different perks are completely countered by Distortion, and the only way to counter Distortion is by simply running a perk build and also a killer that completely eats tokens. However, it is fair to say that technically Distortion still gets value even when a killer isn't running an aura build, because you can simply immediately rule out Lethal Pursuer. He kicks a gen, you don't have a token loss, that means he doesn't have nowhere to hide. And if he gets a hook and you're far enough away, you don't lose a token, then he definitely doesn't have barbecue and chili. Meaning even without a killer running these perks, they already have a shit ton of information. The big problem with this perk isn't that, even though I still think it is a problem. My major problem is that it automates the most enjoyable part of DBD, the guessing game. you can determine for sure with this perk that some people aren't running perks. Now, there are a lot of perks that do this. There are plenty of perks that you can use to completely figure out what the killer is running pretty easily. However, my main problem is just the amount of perks you're able to completely rule out or confirm just like that by running this perk. There are many other perks that can predict other perks. However, this one just predicts way too many. This perk is so controversial in that it has caused many people to create multiple different recreations or alterations, nerfs, buffs to this perk. Even one of the most popular DBD streamers have recently made a video discussing some changes he wants or could see coming to Distortion. And it's a great video made by Sarva. Obviously, it'll be on screen right now, but go check it out. It's a great video. It has a great idea. But I think at the end of the day, Distortion being able to predict so many different perks and being able to rule out so many different perks just simply makes it not very fun. However, like I keep on saying, I don't have fun with Distortion as a survivor, but that's the big descriptor. I don't have fun. Keyword I. You might have fun with Distortion, and I don't, and that's fine. I believe we can have a discussion about this perk, where it stands in the game, and how you and I can both bounce both of our opinions off of each other to figure out a better idea. I think at the end of the day, the best way to find the best possible outcome is to discuss it with each other, especially with people who disagree. You might think that Distortion is probably one of the best perks ever designed, or you might think that it deserves to burn in the holy hellfire every time. I don't believe that, but some people do. So I leave it up to you if you want to go ahead and leave a comment to give me your own personal feedback. If you like the perk, if you hate the perk, it's really up to you. If you wanted to just leave a dislike and call me something rude, go right ahead as well. That'd be cool. Or if you want to tell me you have never heard a more wrong opinion in your life, go right ahead. Leave it all in the comments. I'm more than willing to respond. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you all did enjoy this video. If you did, please consider subscribing or even liking the video if you want. Also, I do stream on Twitch, link in the description below and also in the pinned comment. There you can discuss with me live and probably get a more rushed response, because oftentimes when I respond to comments on YouTube, I tend to simply just overthink the fuck out of my response and tend to give a lot of information. So if you want a more quick and oftentimes less formulaic response, go to my Twitch and I'll give you my more raw opinions. But yeah, without further ado, I do hope you enjoy this video. Have a nice rest of your night, morning, wherever it is for you. Bye.